All right, folks, God bless you guys, and welcome to This Is It 4321, guys. Here we go. I'm making public right now recordings of Jeff Petska from the first time that I talked to him on the phone. The second time I talked to him on the phone, the inconsistencies, he lied. He lied about how Richard MONTBLEAU apparently left his location. I've talked to Richard. We've recorded these phone calls. Richard is okay, but Richard was apparently kidnapped by Jeff Petska out of Richard's own mouth, out of Jeff Petska's own mouth too. What you're about to see is way out there. Apparently this guy, Jeff Petska, has tried to kind of attach himself to my ministry in some weird kind of way. I don't know who he is, didn't know who he was until just a few days ago when all this weird stuff came up. I told everybody we got some checks in the mail maybe 2 weeks ago now. It was a very generous donation and it was very odd. And again, that's where some of this rolled out. I have tried to call law enforcement again today to tell law enforcement in California, we have all these audio recordings. We have audio recordings of Richard MONTBLEAU saying that Jeff Petska kidnapped him. I'm trying to give those recordings to law enforcement in California. No one seems to want to call me back. Very weird. I've talked to Richard MONTBLEAU again today. Now, after talking to him yesterday and then going over what he said yesterday and analyzing it with the email that he sent us, then calling Jeff and putting Jeff under pressure, watching Jeff make mistake after mistake after mistake. Then Jeff Petska out of his own mouth says the Lord told him to kidnap Richard MONTBLEAU. Okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm making all these recordings, everything. I'm making it all public right now, all of it. I want everyone to grab it, grab this information. I think everybody has a right to know everything. So let's do it. So this is the folder right here, Richard MONTBLEAU, and we've been stacking stuff up in this folder that doesn't seem to make sense. There's too many weird tie-ins together, and so we've been putting all this stuff together. This is Jeff Petska, the guy that's been staying at Richard MONTBLEAU's house. This is who you're going to be hearing from in some of the recordings. This is Richard MONTBLEAU. This is who we're trying to bring in safely. This is Richard, a very nice man. He's obviously getting worked. And I want everybody to try and help me bring this man to a place of safety and well-being. He doesn't feel confident because his family turned against him. He was getting divorced and he was in a very vulnerable place. Apparently, this guy, Jeff Petska, called him from New York and said, hey, you need to come pick me up, and even used my name to say, well, Jonathan Kleck would come pick me up. And I guess because Richard has a high opinion of me, he said, okay, you know what, I'm going to go pick up this guy, Jeff Petska, and brings Jeff Petska all the way out to California to live in Richard's house, and then all this weird stuff starts happening. And I'm just finding out about all this a few days ago, but between myself and the people that I work with, we have been just diligently contacting people. Rich got in touch with us. Thank God. Rich was kidnapped by Jeff Petska. You're going to hear audio recordings. Right now, I want everybody, grab this folder. I want everybody to be on the alert for Richard MONTBLEAU's well-being. This is the folder. I'm making it public right here. All the information right here. Some of the phone calls are in here, recorded. There's audio threats that were in here that were made on another thing towards Jeff Petska, but I was included in those audio threats because there's people out there that are trying to associate me with Jeff Petska like he's one of my cult followers. The people that are saying like I'm running a cult or fueling a bunch of insanity, it's absolutely nuts. Okay, and I'm pissed. I've had enough. Okay, now we're here to save Richard MONTBLEAU, and we're here about his well-being. He was kidnapped by Jeff Petska. you're going to hear an audio recording of Richard Montbleau saying those words several times. He said it yesterday. Today, I went over it again. I wanted to get all the details. Again, he reaffirmed it today. I called after this phone call with Richard again today. I called Jeff Petska up and I purposely put him on the hot seat. I started like, what the hell is going on? You kidnapped Richard. You tied him up. You told him by the end of the day he would be sodomized at least once. Yes. Yes, that's what you're going to hear. And there's people out there that are maligning me, trying to tie me to this lunatic, and I'm the only one hunting all this down. Doesn't that seem kind of weird? I'd like a phone call from the police department out in El Dorado. If they would call me, I'm giving all the same information right here that I would give the El Dorado Police Department. I'm giving it to y'all, to everybody. So y'all have it. Okay, now I'm just going to, okay, y'all ready? Heavenly Father God, I'm just asking for Jeff's safe return. He's a father. He's a brother. He's a husband. I pray that everybody just puts Richard's well-being number one. And then also, I pray that all parties involved in whatever this weird thing is are brought to justice. Amen. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. Okay, so let me start here. Wait one sec. Let me start with the first recording. Hang on one sec. So I'm going to give you guys, it's called Making Everything Public. That's the name of the, let's see if this whole doesn't seem to be wanting to click. Let's see right here. So Making Everything Public. Richard, now.
Kind of familiar. Anyway, so I just tried calling him. I'm going to try one more time.
Okay, now, let me preface this. Let me see if I can make this small real quick. Okay, let me explain to you what you're going to hear first. You're going to hear me, the very first phone call that I called Jeff Petska after Dave the Wave alerted me to this, and I'm like, what's going on? So I called him up, tried to get some information. Hey, that was a very nice thing to do, donating the checks. You mind me asking, where'd you get the money? What's going on? And at the end of that phone call, I was like, well, what happened to Richard? Where did Richard go? Jeff Petska, oh, he left on his own free will, just left. Well, that's not true at all. Richard was gagged, sock in his mouth, tied up, taped up. He said he was blindfolded and thrown in the back of a truck, and he was driven 3 hours before he escaped from the back of a truck that Jeff Petska was driving. Okay, whom I don't know or have any relationship, except that the week before, he's sending me 2 very strange, conspicuous checks. It's weird. I took those checks the very next day after I found this out. I went to my bank. I asked for that money back, and I sent those checks to the deputy that called me the first night that this happened. And I told him about the checks. I told him, yeah, this is what's going on. And I sent that deputy those 2 checks to give to Richard Montbleau's wife and children, because that's where I believe it should go. I've talked to Richard. I told Richard just in some of our phone calls, hey, Richard, I just want you to know, I sent that money to your wife and children. He's like, that's fine. And I don't want anything to do with any of this money. I don't know what's going on with the whole weird thing, but now we do know what's going on. Okay. Sorry. It's just crazy. The first phone call you're going to hear is me calling Jeff Petska to find out who he is. Who's Jeff Petska? Why are you sending me these checks? What's going on? Ready? Here we go.
Let's see. I'm just going to look back at my emails. These are 2 different. Apparently, it's from New York City.
Okay.
Okay. So
I'll tell you what. Here's another thing, just very quickly. I'm gonna try and get all this stuff out quickly because I'm making this folder public. You guys can go watch every recording I'm showing you right now, every single one. I want y'all to see everything as it evolved. The phone calls, emails from Richard. I want you guys to see it all. This wild stuff. Okay, but I may just like jump through some stuff so we don't have to just listen to Nothing that.
Let's see, we're going to go back to, there's a number on his Facebook page.
Okay, let's just get to the.
And from what I understand, that you're staying at his house.
Okay, here we go. Hang on.
See, this looks like a different number now. I'm going to try a different number.
Okay, here we go.
Now, subscriber you are trying to reach is not available. Please leave your message after the tone.
Hey, Jeff. This is Jonathan Kleck. Listen, I'm calling for a couple reasons. About a week ago, I got two letters in the mail with two checks, each one for $5,000. First of all, thank you very much. I saved your envelope because I wanted to send you a thank you letter. This is very awkward, but I got contacted by Dave the Wave, and apparently Richard Montbleau is turned up missing. And from what I understand, that you're staying at his house or the place he's renting out in California, apparently with the same address that's on this return address that had the letter with one of the checks in it. Anyway, Jeff, yeah, I'm very much interested. I need to talk to you about the checks. First of all, I hate to pry, but the money that you were able to send us, two $5,000 checks, is a substantial amount of money. And I just like to ask you how we, ended up being the recipient of that, first of all. I mean, and then just kind of the circumstances around it, because there's a lot of strange stuff going on here, and I'd like to just put it all to rest, if we could put it all to rest. So my number.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it just hung up right after I gave him my number. So I'm going to keep a record of all this. Hopefully he calls back and find out what's going on. Okay.
Sorry, I don't want that number to be heard publicly because I'll get thousands of phone calls. Sorry about that.
All right.
Here comes where.
Hello. Hello.
Johnny, hold on. I'm on the other meeting.
I'm pausing this right now, so I just want y'all to know. Now he has answered the call back, and so at this point, we start finding out who is this guy, Jeff Petska, what's going on. So that's where we're at. So let me go back here real quick. Okay, ready? Let's go.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, so maybe you can help me not freak out. Just so I'm trying to figure out so yeah, let me just start with first of all, I want to say thank you. I actually was holding on to your letter, so no, so here's the thing. I've been the last 4 days, all I've been doing is building construction, and I've been so exhausted every day after I build that I just lay down and pretty much pass out till the next morning and get up and do it again. But here's the thing. I got this thing from Dave the Wave, he contacted me some stuff that was on Facebook or some. I don't participate really in social media at all. And obviously you and I, this is the first time I've ever talked to you, but first of all, thank you for the checks. Thank you for doing that. All right. Well, thank you so much for that. So the thing is, all right. So let me ask you, do you mind if I just cut to this chase? Because apparently Richard Montbleau's sister's looking for Richard, and then she said you're living in his house, and I'm like, okay, but what do I have to do with it? I don't have anything to do with any of that, and I don't know anything about any of it. So the money, let me ask you this. The checks that you sent us, that's money of your own account? That's just your own money?
That is the Lord Richard.
Well, I'm not sure what that. So here's the thing: if the money that I got from you, in any way, shape, or form came from Richard, I got to give it back because I can't take money that would be questionable. You know what I'm saying? I can't because then I would lose my blessings if you know what I mean.
Okay, so 5 minutes.
Either Richard's. Okay. I mean,
Me over here for.
so anyway, I don't care when somebody does that, Jeff, that they call me. What's the name of the person?
And I thought we were gonna, I mean, basically, the Lord before that told him because he's a watchman, but he's not. Well, I didn't find out who he really was until the Lord showed me. He's not like.
Yeah, but so I got you. I understand. So, but here's the thing. But Richard just disappeared. I mean, what happened? I mean, where'd he go?
Okay, now I'm gonna pause it for a sec, guys, because again, I'm having some equipment problem, but the recordings are very clear on our computers. But I'm gonna keep going. Let me just see something real quick. So let me just tell you what's going on here. I'm trying to find out who Jeff Petska is. What are these relationships? How do you end up there? But this is the part I'm getting to. And like I said, you can go access this exact recording on the show notes. And I'll show you exactly where it is. But I want you to hear Jeff Petska say, Richard left of his own free will. That's what he says. And I think in one of the other recordings, he said he walked off with a suitcase. Okay, so let me get back to there. Here we go. Here, ready?
Well, I don't know how to exactly. Just so much has happened, and there's so many miracles, and it's like the Lord is, I'm not some crazy person that went off the edge or anything. He really did show me that, if you hate me, I'll hate you. Because
Right, but
all the time.
so are you still living?
To me,
Are you still living in Richard's place?
right? Yeah.
Uh,
And
so
the Lord
so
told me
okay,
to
so
secure
you're
everything.
okay, so you're still living there, but I'm just like I said, I'm trying to piece together from a contact earlier this evening with Dave the Wave, and I'm just trying to get it all together. But you sent me two checks for $5,000 each like a week ago, and I was so shocked. I was like, wow. Because Corey and I went to the post office, and I was like, I don't recognize this person,
Right.
Jeff Petska, but there was no note in either one.
Back briefly at the
Oh, you did? So you were at the art?
Lord didn't want us to meet. I mean, the reasons why we are now. I mean, he showed me my identity as well, just the other day. Crazy miracles. But
So you actually attended the ARC event, the get together, and the night under the sun.
Weird.
like the week that I had my dog.
Your voice sounds really familiar now. Now that did we talk at all or no?
Okay, this is very, how weird that now I'm having audio problems. How weird that the audio's going in and out. This is so bizarre. I'm going to get to this part of the recording where Jeff Petska says, yes, Richard left of his own free will. Let me try and get this up because I'm trying to find out.
We talked briefly, but I sat right. She won a beanie.
Oh, you won one of the beanies. Oh wow!
Yeah,
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, and
Oh wow! Okay.
I'm the only probably only person me because I just went to the Lord, So I never did, and now I understand why.
All right. Well, here's what I'm kind of. So do you think Richard ran off because of his problems with his wife, or Like what's
Richard? No, Richard completely, unbeknownst to me before I came here, took away all of his blessings, everything. He showed me the evil of him.
Yeah, but let me ask you this.
I just think you should take it to the Lord. Because I know you're not going to believe me because so many miracles and ridiculousness. I mean, it's like, it's mind blowing. Even you, Johnny, I mean.
Yeah, I mean.
When I met her for the first time, I didn't even know who I was. Richard never even mentioned it. And she gave me the most evil look and said, I know who you are.
Who said that?
It wasn't exactly his soon-to-be ex-wife.
Oh, so Richard is currently getting a divorce, and his soon-to-be ex-wife.
In the final stages, and you're right. And the only thing now is that he's given them all the money, basically. I mean, the Lord totally did that.
So some of the money that they thought was going to them, you ended up with. Does that sound right?
No.
No.
He's already satisfied all that.
Okay.
He's already satisfied all that. Only it was the furniture. And then the Lord had me giving away all the furniture on.
It's so weird that I'm caught up in this. I'm like, what's going on? It's so weird. I'm like, what's going on? Because, I mean, this is the first time I've ever talked to you.
It brought me into I mean, there's no way possible that this would happen in 7 weeks.
Well, I'll tell you what. I've had a throbbing headache since this started. So
he was like, I know who you are.
So
which is evil look. I was like,
okay, well, listen. I'll tell you what. I've got your phone number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little break. My head's exploding because I did a video. I posted a video. Everybody helped me find. Do you have any idea where Richard is? Because that's my number one concern. Where's Richard possibly?
Lord made him leave. And it's why you need to take.
Okay, hang on one sec. I'm trying to hang on one sec. I'm working on this recording. Just a minute. Hang on one sec. Just a moment. About that, I had, call I had to take. Here we go. Let's try this.
Yeah, I've got your phone number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little break. My head's exploding because I did a video. I posted a video. Everybody helped me find. Do you have any idea where Richard is? Because that's my number one concern. Where's Richard possibly?
Lord made him leave. And it's why you need to take it to Lord.
Yeah, but made him leave. What? He just left his own house and split?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I want to leave it. Free will. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. I'm gonna take a break
It's
and.
absolutely impossible, Johnny. I'm not scared or whatever. Just you have to just take it to all I have to the Lord.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there for a second. So that was the first recording. I know it's a little choppy. It sounds choppy on my end. We have a very clean recording of all this. It's in that email. It's coming through kind of choppy on what I transferred over here, but we have this on jump drives. We have it in the folder. We have it on computers. So this guy Jeff Petska is saying God made him leave his house. Like Jeff saying Richard, that I said, where is Richard? And he said, God made him leave. That's what he said. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? He said, he let you free will. Well, I've come to find out since this phone call, because I've talked to Richard, I have an email from Richard that's in the folder I'm giving you. I have audio recordings from Richard that's in the folder I'm giving you, that Jeff Petska kidnapped Richard, tied him up, taped him up, put a sock in his mouth, gagged him, blindfolded him, and 3 hours from departing from wherever he was, he escaped, apparently in some valley, I think he said on Highway 5 or something, I don't know. And he was able to get away from Jeff Petska. And then there's more to this. It's crazy. And I just want you guys to listen to this. I want you to get all this information and give this to Jeff Petska's family. No one's contacting me. Give this to the police department out there. I mean, what's going on? I'm the only guy that seems to be trying to crack this case. Everybody seems to be real, oh, okay, well, Jonathan and Jeff are part of some cult. That's insane. I don't even know who this lunatic is. And you're going to find out because I confront him. You're going to hear an audio recording of me confronting this guy saying, wrong, Jeff. Richard told me you tied him up and gagged him and you hauled him off. And you told me, you told him, Jeff told Richard he was going to be sodomized that night at least once. Those are Richard MontBLEAU's words to me on a recorded audio. So who's this nefarious lunatic here? What do I have to do with any of this except catching this guy, Jeff Petska, that's obviously a lunatic? I'm just beyond words. All right, here we go. That was first call with Jeff. You can see that on the...
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to be very. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to be very prayerful, and I'm just going to see where it all goes.
It all happened.
Well, first of all, and
No basis.
yeah. All right. Well, listen. I appreciate you calling me back.
Did you hear what he said? He said need to know basis. I mean, this guy's up to really weird stuff.
And appreciate the call back. And I'm just going to, like I said, process. All right.
Yeah. Just take a moment, thank the Lord.
Yep.
He orchestrated the whole thing. I could never even imagine coming here and coming here, moving here to help this,
Well, Richard seems, from what I know, he seems like a very nice guy. I've only talked to him.
He's on the other team.
Okay, did y'all hear what he just said? He's on the other team. That's what Jeff Petska just said. He's on the other team. What other team? Okay, well, there's good and evil in this world, and the whole world is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And either you've been converted and you're saved or you're not. Well, Jeff Petska, I've come to find out, gagged a guy, tied him up or duct taped him up, blindfolded him and hauled him off and told him he was going to be sodomized. And he's saying that Richard's on the other team, like the bad guys. You guys, are y'all as stunned as I am? You should be. Family members of Richard MontBLEAU, yeah, you're welcome for trying to help get this all put together in a way that Richard will be safe. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's keep going.
Listen, so here's the thing, I don't have any ill will towards anybody for any of that, because even, when I talked to him on the phone, he seemed like a very nice guy. I talked to him one time like 5 years. I talked to him like one time.
Okay, y'all go listen to that whole thing. I'm going to see call with Rich. Here's where first call with Rich. Ready?
I don't have a very good feeling about it, to be honest. Zach's sitting here with me. We're recording it on the computer and on my cell phone just so we have this backed up. This is very concerning to me.
I'm going to pause this. Now, this is a call with Richard, and we're recording this to make, so he's okay. We're trying to find out what's going on. Who's this Jeff guy? What's going on with Jeff and you? And so this is where we start finding out what's really going on. Here we go. Ready? Okay, here we go. Let's go.
I will be calling the missing persons guys tomorrow and be sending them these recordings. This is just over my head, a little too much. All right. So we're going to sign off. Zach, you're here as a witness?
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
All right.
Hang on one sec.
He's...
Okay, I'm
check
sorry.
it out.
Get past the first call with Jeff. Want to get to Richard.
Corey, Barbie, and Zach.
Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. That was the first call with Jeff on 9/18. where Jeff said Richard left of his own free will. Lie. Okay, now
You identified yourself as Richard.
Let me explain to you what you're hearing right here. The audio recordings with Richard are an hour long, and they're in the folder for you guys to go listen to yourself. Give them to the police department. Someone needs to go get this Jeff Petska guy and get him in a room and start asking him some questions. He kidnapped this guy, Richard. Okay, so I'm the one bringing you the information. Here you go.
This is Jonathan Kleck, Corey, Barbie, and Zach Wentz. We are here in San Antonio. Richard, where are you at?
I'm in Sacramento.
You're inside. So you got away before he was able to get you out of Sacramento?
No, I got away when I was in the middle of the valley of Sacramento, between San Diego and Sacramento.
Did he see you get away?
I jumped out of the back of the truck. I don't know what happened after that. Everybody was yelling, "Hey, hey!" And I just kept running.
So where was that? Just in the valley after? How long had you been kidnapped?
It was 2 hours and 65 minutes, like almost 3 hour drive.
He was on his way to San Diego, right?
Well, we were driving down 5, and then I realized that he had stopped. That's when I started to get my restraints off.
What were your restraints exactly? What were they?
He gagged me with a sock in my mouth, wrapped me up in tape, covered my eyes.
We're gonna go back and listen to that again, but I want you to understand, because all you're hearing are some little clips of an hour-long thing. I wanted to show you what's going on, but when you hear me go, "Oh, you were in the valley," because I've already been communicated by Richard that there was some valley. I don't know the highways out there. Richard believed it was Highway 5, I guess. And obviously, when he escaped from this truck that he was in, he must have recognized what it was, what highway or where he was. So I want people to make sure you listen to everything, then go to the folder and listen to all the audio tapes yourself. Everything. Get all the data, like I've done over all these days. Okay. Now, we're going to go back. Let's go back and hear that again.
We were driving down 5, and then I realized that he had stopped. That's when I started to get my restraints off.
What were your restraints exactly? What were they?
He gagged me with a sock in my mouth, wrapped me up in tape, covered my eyes completely, and then tied my hands behind my back.
So here comes the next little clip from the same phone call. So Richard just said he got tied up, hands behind his back.
There's just too many flaws in this. The Lord is not the author of confusion, my friend. Why is Jeff, let me ask you this. Why is Jeff lying to me? That's a hard question to answer, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, he's lying because he's trying to conceal. Isn't a lie when you try and conceal things and hide the truth?
Yes.
All I'm doing is trying to pry the truth out of every nook and cranny I can to show everybody out there in the world, YouTube land, your sister, your wife, everybody else. Dude, I'm concerned about Rich's well-being. Is Jeff Petska guy that's in charge of all your money now? What do you think would happen if you would have been carted off and he would have gotten to the location that maybe he had in mind? Do you think it would have gone well for you, being tied up, gagged, and hauled off?
No, he basically said, "You're going to get kicked in the ass tonight."
Sex trafficking. That's what you said in your email.
Oh, so he actually told you, say those words again. He said what?
He said, "You're gonna feel the wrath of God, and you're gonna get yes, at least once."
So you think a servant of the Lord is going to speak to you like that?
That's insane.
Never.
Come on, Rich.
Rich, that's insane. Jeff Petska said, "You're going to feel the wrath. You're going to get fucked in the ass at least once tonight? That's what he said to you?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to call Jeff.
Okay, now, before we continue, I want you guys just to do the math. Let's do the math. Some lunatic named Jeff Petska, who I don't know from Adam, showed up in California. He said 7 weeks, so I'm going on 7 weeks ago. There's some other weird things that are coinciding 7 weeks ago with some other people, which is kind of fascinating. However, let's focus on Jeff. Jeff shows up there because Jeff Petska calls Richard Montbleau and says, "Oh, you should come get me." And Richard, because he's going through a divorce, he's not stable, he's not grounded right now spiritually. He's obviously going through the stress of a divorce, which I've been through. It's overwhelming, just emotionally. So he's in an emotionally bad place. Some guy calls him up and says, "You should bring me out." And Richard told me Jeff called him and talked him into coming to get him. So Richard went out to get this guy from New York, brings him back. This guy moves in, takes over all Jeff's money. Weird. And Jeff's being, stiff arming his family because his family thinks, oh, he's lost his mind because, he believes in God or he's seen these things. He doesn't see the way they see him. This guy's inside the gates taking advantage of taking advantage of Richard. And then Jeff tells me on our first phone call that Richard left of his own free will. Yeah, God told him he had to go. Well, did God tell you that Jeff had to tie him up, gag him? I actually asked Jeff that exact question in this next audio segment. I'm like, what did God tell you to tie him up? And he says, yeah, God's the one that told me. What? Okay. Listen, I'm an online disseminator of information. I'm a harbinger. I just show the world. This is what the Lord showed me. The bombings are on the U.S. currency. If that helps you wake up before the end comes, good for you. The Vatican's a snake. If that helps you wake up before the end comes, good for you. But I'm trying to ring a bell to call everybody to repentance, to tell the Lord you're sorry for your sins before all hell breaks loose on this earth and you have no spiritual foundation with God. That's who I am and that's what I do. Well, if people want to call that a cult, they can do whatever they say. We don't have some meeting. We don't meet, hey, let's get together and have a cult meeting. The stuff that I'm hearing online is insanity, and it's from the same people who have maligned me before. And I find it fascinating that some of their stuff is coinciding with some of this stuff. It's really weird. But now you just heard Richard Montbleau say that Jeff Petska tied him up, duct taped him, gagged him with a sock, and he was being driven somewhere, and Richard, by the grace of God, was able to escape. Can you imagine if he wasn't? This guy probably would have whacked him. Oh, well, I sent Jonathan Kleck two $5,000 checks a couple weeks ago. The people like Jim and Karen who are out pushing this narrative that Jonathan Kleck's a false prophet, even though I laid hands on his wife that had stage 4 cancer, and she was arguably just weeks from death. Yeah, that Karen Sullivan, they're in contact with Richard Montbleau's sister on YouTube. We've got documented conversations or documented comments back and forth between those guys. What's going on here? How weird. But now Richard, the guy that matters. I'm calling police departments in El Dorado 4 times yesterday. I've called today. I said, hey, I have audio recordings that show Richard was kidnapped and nobody's calling me back. That's insane. Why not? I know my car was broken into a little over a week ago, Wednesday night while we were at the movies. They rifled through my car. It looked like they were looking like for a weapon or something, maybe to take it and use it and plant it or something. They didn't take $500 in the glove box. They didn't take medication or in the console. They didn't take $500 that was just sitting right there in plain sight. They didn't take medication that was in plain sight. What? It's getting weird, isn't it? Now you just heard Richard Montbleau, God bless his heart, who is out there right now terrified of, he doesn't know what's going on. I've been on the phone with him. I've sent him some money so he could go get some food and he could go find a place in the shade and he could be holed up somewhere. And now I'm reaching out to everybody on YouTube. Help me bring Richard in. I want Richard MONTBLEAU to come in safely, but he's scared of his own family because they said he's lost his mind. I can understand their point of view a little bit because I can see from their point of view that if he had a spiritual conversion, but then he went off the rails because he's dealing with this information that's above his pay grade, I believe. You shouldn't be maybe showing all the information that the Lord God gave me to show everybody if you're not spiritually equipped for it, because it sent Eric Szabo over the edge. It sent several people over the edge because they tried to go teach it. Seen it before. Okay, now let's continue to listen to this audio of Richard telling us he was kidnapped, that the guy that kidnapped him is Jeff Petska. He tied him up, put a sock in his mouth, and was driving him somewhere, and he told him guaranteed he was going to be sodomized at least once that night. How come the police aren't over there banging down that door right now? It's insane. Here we go.
And hauled off?
No, he basically said, you're going to get kicked in the ass tonight.
Sex trafficking. That's what you said in your email.
Oh, so he actually told you, say those words again. He said what?
He said, you're going to feel the wrath of God, and you're going to get kicked in the ass. At least once.
So you think a servant of the Lord is going to speak to you like that?
That's insane.
Never.
Come on, Rich.
Rich, that's insane. Jeff Petska said, you're going to feel the wrath. You're going to get fucked in the ass at least once tonight? That's what he said to you?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to call Jeff Petska, and I'm going to put him on the hot seat. I'm going to say, okay, I want to know what's going on. I talked to Richard again, and I've recorded the whole thing, and Richard told me I could record the whole thing, and I am going to ask him, what's going on? You tied him up, and you gagged him, and you told him he was going to get fucked in the ass at least once? Okay, I'm going to put him on the hot seat, and that's going to make him squirm so bad, you're going to see who Jeff Petska really is.
Okay, that was Jeff. I put up on your screen. That's the one that kidnapped Richard. Richard got away by the grace of God. How come no one's calling me back? I need everybody on YouTube.
Richard MONTBLEAU, very, very, very disturbing phone calls to find out Jeff Petska has moved into this guy's life, taken over all his.
Let me pause it 1 moment. Let me just get back to this. Listen up, guys. Okay, here we go. Here's what I need from the YouTube community. We need to bring Richard MONTBLEAU in safely somehow. He's out in the Sacramento area. Okay, he's terrified, obviously, for good reason. He has reason not to trust his family because he feels like they're all against him, like, he's all demonically inspired. So, he's lost his mind. He's going through a divorce. I can understand their point of view. I do. However, he needs someone he can trust. Okay, so he doesn't feel like he can just call his sister, I forget, I think he said April or something. That she lives out there, but he feels like if he calls her, he might get hauled off, and he's scared. Jeff Petska's over there still living in Richard's place, so he can't go there. Jeff Petska took Richard's driver's license away. He took all his stuff away. When I pressed Jeff Petska, what are you doing? You took all his stuff away? Oh, the Lord told me to. I'm like, what the hell? Not the God that I serve. So Jeff Petska is trying to, align himself like he's part of my ministry. This is some kind of whacked out demonic setup. I don't know Jeff Petska, but I sure caught Jeff Petska, for sure. Okay, here we go. Let's just keep watching. Sorry, guys, I'm pissed off. I'm really pissed off. There's a lot of stuff that could have been avoided here if people would have taken the time to help Richard and talk to him. And, no one called me. I mean, I wish I would have gotten a call from Richard or something. This Jeff Petska guy, how come he sent me these 2 checks and didn't just call up? Or how come he didn't leave a message and just say, hey, Jonathan, Richard formed this company called Ram Energy, and he put some money in it, and he wants you to be the guy that facilitates it. Nobody told me any of this. But Jeff Petska, the guy that's kidnapping Richard, is sending me 2 $5,000 checks? Whoa, that's kind of suspect. Why would you do that? Maybe to tie me to you in some weird way? Are you some Manchurian candidate from some other people that are making that same claim about me? Huh. Weird. Let's keep going. Here we go. Follow-up call to pressure Jeff. Jeff says the Lord told him to kidnap Richard. Pay attention.
Stuff. It's crazy how I see people like Jim Sullivan, Karen Sullivan, his sister's trying to tie this guy, Jeff Petska, to me, who I don't even know. There's something very, very nefarious going on here. I'm going to call Jeff Petska, and I'm going to put him on the hot seat right now and let him know. I just talked to Richard, and Richard told us that Jeff had had kidnapped him, and he lied to me about it. He said he left on his own free will. But the truth is, Jeff had tied him up. What did he say? Taped him up, right?
Gagged him.
Put a sock in his mouth and blindfolded him and threw him in the back of a truck. And Richard was able to escape. And Jeff told him, you're going to feel the wrath of God. You're going to be sodomized at least once tonight. And this is the guy that says he's working for God. And he's like, oh, he's one of my followers. He's not one of my followers. This guy's some infiltrator, agent, provocateur, liar. And I'm sick of these kind of people, man. I've had enough. That's enough of this bullshit. Okay. Thanks for letting me vent. So now we're going to call Jeff up. Jeff, we're about to call you up and record everything. So let's call Jeff.
He already said I could record him in a previous conversation. I told him to record everything. Let me see real quick.
Because he knows.
Subscriber you were trying to reach is not available. Please leave your message after the tone.
Okay,
He's not answering because he.
so I hung up and he called right back because I didn't leave a message. So let's see if we can get to that.
Because Jeff tied him up, gagged him, and help Richard. We need to help Richard. That guy's out there scared. He doesn't know who to turn to. Let's see. All right, I'm going to pause this recording. This was the attempt to get a hold of Jeff Petska and have him explain why he told us that Richard left on his own free will, when the truth is Jeff tied him up, gagged him, and put him in the back of a truck and was driving him 3 hours south before Richard was able to escape. So something very evil is going on. Hello. Hang on one sec. Hello.
Smith.
Yeah, man. So yeah, we very much want to talk to you. There's a lot going on, and I'm trying to again put everything together, all the relations together. So I've been on the phone for a long time with Richard.
Right.
Is there anything you want to tell us about anything? I think this would be your time to do it. If you're going to do it, you better do it now. About everything. If you this is your chance to tell the truth, because I've got a whole lot of recording of Richard. I've got a whole lot of stuff, and I'm about to start making all kinds of phone calls. So you want to, yeah, okay. So you, let me start with this. So Richard, you told me that Richard left on his own free will. Yeah, and he with his suitcase. And that you apparently told law enforcement that he walked out of there on Saturday, and that's how he just was gone.
No, he didn't. He did not walk out.
No, yeah, well, you know that we know that because we talked to Richard. You bound him, you gagged him, you put tape over, you blindfolded him.
Tell law enforcement. I told them the last time I.
Okay, so well, hang on. Richard's already told me that Richard, listen, you're not going to interrupt me. I'm going to speak and you're going to listen, and then we're going to take it from there. So you bound him, you gagged him, you kidnapped him, and he escaped from you, but you told him he was going to be sodomized at least one time that night.
What?
Okay, then, so you know what? I've already caught you lying I've already caught you lying twice. Let me tell you something. All this, oh, the Lord, ask the Lord this. You know what? I'm calling you out, Jeff. Jeff, I'm calling you out. I don't even know you from Adam. And you know what? A couple weeks ago, you sent me some check, and you've taken hold of Richard Montbleau's finances out of nowhere. You came from the streets out there in whatever, New York, and now all of a sudden, you're trying to tie me to you with a couple checks. That's nuts.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll tell you what. It's time. It's time for all these recordings to go to the police. That's it. Enough's enough. Yep. Richard said, so either you're a liar or Richard's a liar, and I don't believe Richard's a liar. He said that you gagged him, tied him up. Do you know how many recordings we have now? Do you know how many recordings we have of Richard telling us all this? You tied him up, you gagged him, you blindfolded him.
I think
No. Did you tie him up, gag him, and blindfold him? Yes or no? Yes or no? Let your yes be yes and your no be no.
yeah.
Okay, that's called kidnapping.
So that's what the Lord wanted to do.
So you're saying the Lord wanted you to kidnap him. That's not the Lord who I serve, buddy.
No. He wanted me to drop him off in San Diego.
Oh, so you're going to drive all the way from where Richard lives, all the way down to San Diego by the border of Mexico, and you told him he was going to get fucked in the ass at least once that day. That's what Richard said. Okay, wait. Either Richard's lying or you're lying, and I don't believe you. You just listen. You just told me that God told you to kidnap Richard.
No. He wanted me to drop him off there, not kidnap.
You tied him up, gagged him, blindfolded him, and he managed to escape from the back of your truck, you liar. You're a fucking liar, dude. I've already caught you lying 3 times. Anyone that lies, listen, lying is of Satan, bro. You know what? I'm calling all the authorities now, Chief. All of them.
I'm not lying.
Well, anyway, I don't care. You can tell it to the police because you know what? I've got all the tape recordings that prove you're lying. Someone's lying. You or Richard. Okay, well, guess what?
I am not.
No, you know what? Let me ask you this question. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer it. When I called you about the checks, how come you simply didn't just say, well, yeah, Johnny, Richard set up some company and he wanted to make you the beneficiary of the money. Why didn't you just say that up front?
Because that's not what happened.
Okay, you know what? Go ahead and tell us everything that happened. Go ahead. We're listening.
The Lord unbeknownst to me.
Quit saying the Lord, okay? Don't say the Lord one more time with me because let me tell you something. I serve the Lord, and you know what he showed me about you? Fraud, phony. That's what he showed me about you. Agent provocateur, yes. That's what he showed me about you, Chief. And you know what? You've been lying to me.
I have not been lying to you.
And you're telling me Richard's lying. Who's lying? You or Richard?
Richard, obviously. Because I'm telling you.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Why did you take Richard's credit cards and his ID?
Because the Lord just wanted him to go out and...
No, okay, listen, quit saying the Lord. Why did you... no.
I'm going to say the Lord. I'm going to say the Lord.
So you're going to say the Lord told you to take his ID and credit cards?
I didn't take his credit card.
Did you take his ID?
His ID was at the premises, and the Lord didn't want me to have it. He wanted to have him go out.
Oh, you know what, dude? You're so full. You know what? You don't serve the... Bro, you don't serve the Lord I serve at all. You serve the other side, dude. You're a total setup.
No, I do not.
Yeah, you do. You know what? Okay, it's time to get everybody involved now. You're a liar. You keep saying, yeah, you are. You keep saying you serve the Lord. You're just a total fraud, dude. And you know what? I busted you. Yeah, you are. And I busted you. Yeah, I've talked to Richard too many times. Listen, I've got so much audio tape with Richard contradicting what you're saying.
What? Because he's not doing fruit.
Oh, okay. So it's Richard that's not being truthful. Even though I have you, even though the first time I called you up, I pressured you and I've already caught you lying in your own phone calls. Corey, Zach?
What?
Yeah, no, dude.
We have you.
Yeah, we have you lying out of your own mouth. Okay. Okay, tell it to the cops. Tell it to the cops. Okay, we're going to call the police now.
Mm-hmm. Did the same little Karen laugh. You want me to pause this?
Yeah, so that was me putting, I wanted to put him under extreme pressure. I call it squeezing the sponge. Now we watched him freak out. Oh, the Lord told me to take his license and take his stuff. That's why I said, quit saying the Lord. He keeps always saying that crap. And then you have people like Jim and Karen inflammatory trying to tie me to this. That's really weird. That's the part I find even weirder. But anyway, so now I'm gonna try and get a hold of the police department out there and turn all these tapes over to them. I'm gonna go put this on social media. We need to bring Richard MONTBLEAU in safely. This guy is a freaking lunatic. Okay, here we go.
Okay, now here we go, guys. All right, so there's some of the drama in my world. So now I've already contacted the police department, told them I have tape recordings that prove that Richard MONTBLEAU was kidnapped by Jeff Petska, and I'm not getting calls from that police department, which I find really weird. But now I'm putting this up on social media, so I'm making a plea to everybody out there to try and get Richard MONTBLEAU to a place of safety, because this guy Jeff Petska is still out there, and he doesn't have any good plans for Richard. Can you imagine that if Richard wouldn't have escaped, where would he be? Wouldn't that be convenient to have Jonathan Kleck tied to Richard MONTBLEAU, who got murdered by Jeff Petska? Huh. Isn't it fascinating the way this all rolled out? And when y'all hear all the recordings with me and Richard, you can hear Richard and I conversing back and forth. And obviously I have nothing to do with Richard's disappearance. But Jeff Petska sure does. He sure was trying to make it happen. And you know what? It looks like it didn't go through because he didn't anticipate Richard getting away. And there's more to the story, because when Richard got away, he was picked up by a trucker, and it looks like maybe Jeff Petska is involved with truckers. Oh, wow, there was a trucker that was facing my car that got broken into the night it got broken into. I videotaped the truck. I'm going to check on that truck too. There's so much crazy stuff going on here, guys. But Jeff Petska, you heard it out of his own mouth. He kidnapped Richard MONTBLEAU. Duct taped him, tied him up, put a sock in his mouth. Told him he was going to be sodomized at least once that night. Oh, that's really someone that I would say follows the Jonathan Kleck ministry. Oh yeah, kumbaya, let's hold hands. And yeah, that's worshiping the God I worship. That's insanity. That's demonic insanity. Now we know who Jeff Petska is. Now, let's get Richard MONTBLEAU in safely. The Jonathan Kleck at gmail.com. Anyone that's in Sacramento that can help us, please contact us at that thing. You will be severely vetted. If you call us or you text us or you email us at the Jonathan Kleck, you're going to have to be able to provide, who you are. We can't just send anyone to go pick up Richard or to go over and meet with Richard to try and help him, because there could be other people that are in on this watching this same video. It's pretty crazy. Okay, Richard, we love you. Just hold the course. We're going to find a way to bring you in safely and get you somewhere where you're safe. Okay, Richard, we love you. Okay, the community loves you, and we're here for you, so don't panic. But obviously, remember what we talked about. All right, don't get in any cars who you don't know who they are. All right, what y'all think? Crazy? Now, y'all may want to hear those recordings very clean. Here they are. Right here. Gene, let's see. No. Richard MONTBLEAU, I'm okay. Phone call. There's a long phone call right here. Richard MONTBLEAU, phone call to Jonathan Kleck. second phone call with Jeff Petska. These are threats. I wanna play these real quick.
Jeffrey, it's 24 hours to cut bait, or I'm coming to fucking get you. You have no idea what's coming. Please, don't say no and stay so I can do what I need to do. You fucking piece of shit. Taking you all down, JK included, pussy.
Okay, so whoever this guy is, he says, I'm taking you all down, and JK included. No, why don't you call and thank me for trying to help find Richard instead of I'm taking you all to JK included? Okay, yeah. And I don't know about the pussy part either.
Jeffrey, you have better have my brother's interest in your heart. If not, somebody will hunt you down.
Okay, so apparently this is one of Jeff's sisters. Richard's sisters telling Jeff that you're going to hunt him down. Well, you know what? I've hunted him down for you. How's that? Okay, so why don't you guys keep me out of your Jonathan Kleck hate party that's being fueled by Karen and Jim Sullivan, apparently, because I've got some messages off a video that Jim Sullivan has a channel where it seems like the Jonathan Kleck hate party is still going on between Richard's sister and the Sullivans. I have it documented. Okay. Now, we need to help Richard. Please, if you're a family of Richard Montbleau's, if Richard's wife is watching this, look at what I just handed you. Go give this to the sheriff's department. Get somebody involved. Go have Jeff Petska picked up and questioned. I'm giving you everything I can do. I have all these recordings. Y'all haven't heard the entire recordings either, and you probably should. There's a lot going on here. Okay? And so I got drug into this because this psychopath, Jeff Petska, whom I don't know, has some very disturbing thing going on in him. So I can understand the family's anger towards Jeff Petska. And if other people are trying to tie me to him, now hopefully you can see that I've divested myself of any relationship with him because there never was one. Thank you. All right. The Jonathan Kleck at gmail.com. Start sending us anyone that's out there in that area. I sent Richard $700 so he could get some food. The only way he's able to do anything is on a phone with just apps and being able to buy stuff. He doesn't have anywhere to stay. He's out on the street, and it's after escaping from Jeff. Okay, there it is. Now, I'm pissed, man. I've had enough. All right, I love you in Christ. I'm going to skip the bear hug for right now. I love you guys in Christ, but let's get Jeff into the police to explain to them. Let's get Richard somewhere safe so he's not feeling like the whole world's crashing in on him. All right, and all his finances have been taken over by this Jeff guy. It's weird that he was trying to tie me to it by sending me these bait checks. I sent the checks to Richard Montbleau's wife. All right, here we go.